In today's episode, we're going to be reacting to some of the craziest and strangest videos I found on TikTok. Let's get into it.
Something strange happened to Jay Leno, and one has to wonder what really happened. Now, he claims that he fell down a hill, but there's more to this than meets the eye, because these people have to do certain things to stay relevant in certain things. And if you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a very special club. And it's not a club that you or I want to be in, quite frankly. But this is more truth in plain sight. Jay Leno, we know exactly why this happened. Again, if you know, you know. Oh yeah, and TikTok, this is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm just sharing photos of Jay Leno. That's all I'm doing.
Now, apparently, Jay Leno fell down a hill and just really injured himself. That's what the story is, supposedly. A lot of people really believe that he has been assigned a spot in the Illuminati. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I will say one thing. He definitely does look a little fake. I don't know if he's got a lot of plastic surgery or if it's just because of the swelling, but his face does look kind of like a mask. I personally do not see why Jay Leno would feel the need to stay relevant. He's already had his time. He should be able to retire in peace at this point. Let me know in the comments on what you guys feel about this one.
If you have this, you are absolutely cooked and have an excruciating end of your life. But your eyes probably look something like this. It's basically a way to see if you're cursed, and apparently I am. Go and check your eyes right now. Do they look a bit more like this, where they have a bit more white around the outside that's always visible? People have been saying like mine, so I guess if it's like that. Many celebrities and well-known people throughout the years have these. You got Billie Eilish, JFK, Michael Jackson, and many celebrities throughout history who have had pretty fatal endings. But it's essentially believed that if you have this thing, you are cursed. A lot of people who have been, but there's also a lot who are chilling right now. So this is known as the Sanpaku eye, and as I said, that's how you can tell if you have it. Anything related to Sanpaku is extremely bad luck in Japanese, but in China it is actually good luck if you have Sanpaku eyes, so go to China, I guess. Most people believe that if you have these, you're basically cursed and are going to have a very bad end, as there's been a lot of tragedy involved with many people who have had these. Weirdly enough, they're not actually that rare to have. Apparently about 19% of people have them, so I guess we're all cooked together.
I have actually heard about this before. It's a pretty interesting theory, and it does seem like anyone that had that eye pattern did seem to suffer some kind of tragic fate. I don't believe I have that style of eye. Nope, looks like a big iris to me. Well, let me know in the comments, Danny, if you have the Sanpaku eye, and if so, have you had good luck or bad luck?
AI Jesus is now taking confessions at a small church in Switzerland, and I wish I could say that this was fake, but oh no, it's very, very real, and we have video of it. We're going to jump into the details of the article soon, but as you can see, there is a gaming PC with a vertical monitor hooked up in one side of the confession booth that hooks up the artificial Jesus that you'll be hearing and seeing in just a moment to some sort of AI to take your confession for you. And I'm going to go ahead and unmute this video.
Do not disclose personal information under any circumstances. Use this service at your own risk. Press the button if you accept.
Sure, why not? Until now.
It is. That's a lot. So yeah, this church thinks it's acceptable for you to step into a confessional booth with a gaming PC, hit a button, and talk to ChatGPT's version of Jesus so that you may be absolved of your sins. I find this incredibly disturbing and creepy, especially because what if the church just decides to keep all of your confessional data? What if they build their own confessional AI to either better manipulate you or to blackmail you? You're basically just giving your life story to the church, maybe not to a priest or a pastor, but to a gigantic, unthinking amalgam of technology and large language models. It's very scary, and I thought this was fake, but I did look it up. Here is the small church that it's in Switzerland, Peter's Chapel. It doesn't appear to be the world's biggest organization, and again, they have their own press release. What's even more concerning is that about 2/3 of participants told the outlet that they came out of the tech-assisted confessional having had a spiritual experience. So on 2 out of 3 people that would normally use confessionals, this just seems to work. One woman said, "He helped me with questions I had, like how can I help people understand him better and come closer to him?" But they were taking advice from a large language model and treating it like a god. They say, though it's a machine, it gave me so much advice, also from a Christian point of view. I felt taken care of and I felt really consoled. So the church said this was just an experiment. We wanted to launch the discussion by letting people try this to have a foundation for talking about it and discussing it with one another. AI Jesus is apparently available 24 hours a day, whereas other pastors aren't. But my God, I find this creepy.
That's on a whole nother level. I would have never expected to see something like this. I don't know how I feel about this one. This one definitely caught me by surprise. I was not expecting to see AI Jesus.
Can someone please tell us what is in this shoe? So one of our gym ladies had a bit of a blowout and her soul came out of her shoe. We picked it up and there's this computery thing in there. I don't know what it is. There's no lights in her shoe. Her shoes don't vibrate. It's all hooked up and connected and sits in this little part. You'd never have known. If the shoe didn't come apart, you'd never have known this whole computer thing in there. Who is spying on her? Who is watching her? We need to have answers. It is a Sunsport shoe. She bought it at Pack Fair. Here's some close-up photos that I took. So it's just come out. We have no idea what it is. I'm hoping there's a rational explanation. Please, somebody tell us what is in her shoe.
Now, I know she said that there's no LED lights or anything, but I see a strip of LED lights going around that whole shoe. I'm assuming that maybe they are a pair of light-up shoes and maybe they just don't light up anymore. Or that could be some kind of listening device. But I'm willing to bet that that is just a pair of light-up shoes.
Do you know this past month they also found a ancient entrance to, quote, the Underworld discovered in Mexico under a church. It was talked about for, I think, the year 600 or something. They talked about this temple that existed in this place, and the locals for thousands of years claimed that it was a entrance to the Underworld.
Spooky.
Built right under a church. And when they discovered, they went down and it's completely sealed off. So like you can't get into it.
Oh my
and so I
gosh.
go,
I don't like that.
did you know one of the country's largest private bunkers, like underground bunkers, exist in Mount Dora?
It's in Mount Dora.
What? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
I didn't know that.
It's so spooky. It's called the Catacombs. It is theorized that the entrance to it is in their backyard in the orange groves.
It was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, where these 6 very wealthy families in the Mount Dora area all put their money together and built bunkers that were attached to all of their homes.
All their homes.
Wow.
Who owns it now?
Like this
It's
is
just
the
in
city?
someone's backyard where I think the
So the city or the state
interest-
doesn't own it, and it's like it's still
No,
private
it's-
property.
Yeah, it's private.
how have we not gone and explored this?
I would just like to see the exploration of these tunnels, especially if it was sealed off. I wonder why they sealed it off. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, go ahead and give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently watching and or subscribed, thank you so much for watching and thank you for being subscribed. I would also like to give a special shout out to all of my active members that you currently see on the screen right now. So for all of my members, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And for anyone out there that is also interested in supporting my channel further, I do have my memberships turned on. It's 99 cents a month. And with that, it includes emojis of my face that you can use in the comments of my videos or when I live stream. On top of that, when I upload a video, it does normally go through a scheduled process where it comes out at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As a member, when I upload the video, it no longer goes through that scheduled process. It's just immediately available for you to watch. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, I cannot thank you enough for supporting the channel in that way. So thank you so much.
This man is receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Stepen Greer.
There's 500,000 years of human history that is about to unfold, an entirely new era. good friends. But I will say that we also have just stood up a special access project where any whistleblower who is at risk can contact me, and we will extend protection to them 24/7.
You know, a lot of people say that Billy Carson and Dr. Greer are kind of frauds. They're not real whistleblowers. They're not people that have hidden knowledge. I really, truly do not know. I am on the fence about all whistleblower type of people. I always kind of have my suspicions about them. But to be someone that's not doing things legitimately and you're just pretending, to have some kind of organization where you can add protection to whistleblowers is a pretty big move. And what do you think of this movement right here? A lot of people in the comments are all about it in this video.
I never thought I would say that eels are fucking blowing my mind, but do y'all know about American and European eels and where they go to reproduce? It's the Bermuda Triangle. It's only the Bermuda Triangle. It's the Sargasso Sea, which is what I'm standing in front of right now. All this floating yellow shit. Yeah, let's talk about it. Look, I'm not bullshitting you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The two most renowned eel species, the American and the European eels, have now been seen migrating thousands of miles to spawn in the Sargasso Sea. They will literally go from landlocked freshwater ponds, lakes, whatever it may be, and jump over dams, anything obstructing them, to get to that ocean so they can reproduce. They have to get to the Bermuda Triangle. Why? I don't know. But eels themselves are a little bit suspicious because, hear me out, the life cycle of an eel is a fucking wild ride. They start out as eggs, then they transform into whatever the fuck you want to call this, and then they're a little glass eel, so they're see-through, and then they're all of these when they're in the continent, and then when they get into the ocean, they change color again. But that's not the weirdest part. They start out as male. All of them start out as male, right? Throughout their life cycle, at some point in time, they liquefy their stomach, quite literally eating themselves from the inside to make reproductive organs and turn into a female, and then they spawn, and then they're done. They're out. That's it. They're gone in the Bermuda.
That is really fascinating. I cannot believe that we're just now kind of discovering this. Makes me wonder though, how many other creatures that we are not aware of that live in the ocean that do the same thing.
I think that the megalithic temples and some of the structures and things they built, they ripped them off from heaven. I think if there are mansions in heaven, how are they built? So they brought that technology here. And then you have the original demigods. They could build perfect structures. And I think they got that idea from heaven itself.
Well, right? Angelic fathers that would have lived in the heavenly realm. They would have lived in heaven.
But it sticks around. And then a couple generations go by and they're still trying to emulate what they're seeing here. The same thing goes with elongated skulls. Some of the beings had elongated skulls, and then humans were trying to emulate that because they were seeing them walk around.
Interesting.
And you could imagine,
that is an interesting
you could imagine they are a superior species, so you want to emulate that. Why else would you take a baby's head and squeeze it?
Well, the conversation about heaven, though, is like, what does the Bible say, right? And it talks about roads and Walls and mansions and grain.
They know, they have pictures in their minds of what it was like there. So maybe there's this crazy megalithic stuff in heaven.
That's actually a really interesting theory, that ancient structures like pyramids, things like that, are developed by fallen angels. Very interesting theory. I like that one a lot. Let me know what you guys think of this one.
How would you like to work a reverse job where you had to pay $24,000 every year to your boss for the privilege of working? Well, Zomato is offering just such a job because the billionaire CEO of the food app and delivery company wants you to pay him for the privilege of working for him. And I thought this was fake until I looked it up. But no, it's very real, and he's following these other trends of like people applying for jobs on X. He's looking for a chief of staff who, most importantly, has a hungry learning mindset. Job description, he's going to learn everything about inside and out of Zomato. You're going to basically be the CEO's personal assistant for anything and everything that they can dream of. And what's wild about this is he wants you to pay, it's like $23,700 or something like that for the privilege of working alongside him, and describes this job as not a conventional role with the usual perks, and it's designed to be unattractive for most people. The person who successfully gets the job will have to pay $23,000 something to work alongside the CEO, and the CEO says the job involves 10 times more learnings than a 2-year degree from a top management school, working with me and some of the smartest folks in consumer tech, which I have to say I doubt. Zomato is comparable to Uber in its food delivery services. It's not that fancy. It's not that unique. And I gotta tell you, there's so much wackiness about this. They say the second year they'll pay you. Yeah, they'll pay you for the second year. Big whoop. I would never do this. This is insane. This is deranged. There's no amount of like jobs that I could put on my resume that would be better than just getting paid cash. I'm sure that some rise and grind financial tech influencer guy will get up every morning and do this and just do all the boss's little chores for him. But not me. You got to pay me to do this kind of stuff. I think it's insane to pay your boss for the privilege of working.
That is so backwards. How do you even get the money to pay for your job in that scenario? I guess there's a scam for everybody. I don't know what this event was necessarily, and I don't know who that was. But when their foot came out of that shoe, it kind of looked like the legs from the Wizard of Oz. If you ever seen the Wicked Witch and how her feet just rolled up after the house landed on her, that's what it looked like on that.
The Count of Saint Germain. He was one of the most mysterious men in all of history.
When did he live?
Some say forever. So this man really appeared during the 1700s in Europe. He befriended everyone of status. He claimed to have created the Philosopher's Stone, which is, you know, from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But basically what that does is it makes you live forever. At a party, he ran into a woman who recognized him from 50 years ago.
Oh,
wow.
It's like Age of Adeline all over again.
So this lady met this man, walked up, she's like, "Are you Saint Germain?" And he said, "I am." And she's like, "I met someone that looks exactly like you 50 years ago, and they were 45. And she said, "How old are you?" And he's like, "I'm 45, and that was me that you met." Parties, he would tell these stories and recount history like he was there.
Yeah.
Very historical facts about Jesus.
Ooh, I don't
like all this
this
stuff. And then one lady said, "If you're talking about Jesus, like you were there, that means you have to be over 1,000 years old." And then they looked at his servant. They said, "Is he 1,000 years old?" And the servant said, "I wouldn't know if he's 1,000 years old. I'm only 300 years old."
What?
Hey, I'm not saying that I necessarily buy into the story, but you have to admit there's kind of a resemblance to this guy and Jeff Bezos. I mean, look at the two.
They're saying that what they see through the Hubble telescope is not just a nebula they found, but what may be a legit biblical angel.
What the heck?
In space. So they use the telescope. I think it's called the Hubble Space Telescope. And this is back in 1996. 8,000 light years away, they see what looks like a living being.
Wait, an eye?
It looks like a straight eye. Look at it. And you see the rings around it?
Yeah. Is that supposed... Because you showed me that the biblical one is like hella eyes though, but this is just one.
Yeah, but what does it resemble though? Literally the thing in the Bible. With the eyes and the rings, man.
That's crazy.
Look,
still.
and this is a legit picture from NASA.
That's fucked.
Look at the eye. Doesn't that look real? Like it looks living, no?
Yeah.
You know that feeling you look at stuff and it feels as if it can speak to you?
It can speak to you, yeah.
This shit looks like it can speak to you, bro.
Yeah.
And then if you go to look at the actual biblical angels, how they're described in the Bible.
Looks the exact same.
Look at that. What do you see?
Yo, there's the rings.
Look, the rings and then one huge eye in the middle.
Yeah.
Sam, isn't that not exactly this?
Yeah, that is that.
You know what I'm saying?
My God.
Is that not exactly this?
It is.
So back to what I was saying, how like our world could be this fish tank, and then outside is those beings that I guess can manipulate us, or even maybe the reasons of our existence.
It's a pretty interesting theory. I really sometimes do wonder when I look up at night while I'm walking my dog and I just see all the stars. I can see them all very clearly, and I sometimes do wonder, what if those are all just eyes looking down upon Earth? What if those are angels or God's eyes and they're just all looking on Earth, just observing? Very interesting theory.
There's something going on with our weather, and it's affecting different countries worldwide. The next 3 videos are literally from Spain and the United States. Around November 21st, 2024, multiple witnesses in different cities throughout Spain walked out to something weird in their skies. These clouds that were bright red, seen all over Spain. The first video was Valencia, the other one is Paiporta. But this is where it gets crazy. Around the same time in Florida, in the United States, a woman walked out to a bright red sky, like everything was red. And it wasn't only reported in Florida, other states saw the same thing. So what is causing this? Take a look at these videos and tell me what you think.
Mira, que se ve como de un color raro en la noche, ¿no? Y mira esa nube, mira, ¿vos puedes creer, cariño, esa vaina como está? Eso da miedo, mira. Ay, ¿qué? Ahora ya acá en Valencia le da miedo a uno que el cielo se ponga así, mire, es clarito y vean ahí. Ay, Dios.
Este es el cielo ahora mismo aquí en Paipota. Nunca había visto yo un cielo igual aún. Nunca. Me da miedito, vamos, parece de película.
Here, but it is red outside. It's red. Is it the apocalypse? Oh my god. It's like 5:00 p.m. like November the 19th, and it is red outside. That is freaky.
I'm not gonna lie, some of those cloud formations were really different looking, very dense and very abstract looking. Let me know in the comments, did any of you experience those? I did not personally get to experience the dense redness or even get to see really strange looking clouds. The other day it was slightly pink outside, but that's kind of normal in my area. A lot of people in the comments of this video are saying that it's potentially weather manipulation, but I don't know.
Someone said cartoons in 2003, cartoons in 2013, and cartoons in 2020. And they basically showed like the progression of Teen Titans. And I knew I wasn't crazy when I said that cartoons have been going downhill and have been getting progressively worse as time has gone on. And people have been trying to tell me that no, you're just getting older, so they just look like they're getting worse and they look like they're turning into brain rot just because you're getting older. But this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. In the original Teen Titans, yes, they were still funny, yes, there were still silly moments, but there were still some pretty deep and heavy like moments and like complex themes, especially in the one Tokyo episode, if you guys remember that one. And then in that last episode when they had to like fight Trigon. And now it's just straight brain rot. And apparently there's like a new one, like I haven't seen this, but apparently there's like a new one that's even more brain rot than this one. You can't tell me that cartoons have not been going downhill. Like I feel like it's gone from like real meaningful stuff with like complex themes to just like the most lowbrow fart jokes. And then once they start trying to add in AI, entertainment is doomed, bro.
Not just for Teen Titans, but it almost seems like all cartoons really have suffered. It's really sporadic. It's different. The cartoons nowadays are way different. Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, there was still some really wild cartoons. I still kind of think SpongeBob was the beginning or somewhere near the beginning of when cartoons were really starting to get a little different. But nowadays, it's just really sporadic, super hyper, all over the place cartoons. Honestly, I feel like it's developed to give people ADHD.
Why do Ariana Grande and Cynthia look like this? This is not method acting. Don't let anyone tell you this is method acting, because there was nothing in this movie that should let them look like this. Thousands of videos suddenly went viral claiming that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are looking vastly eerie in their before and afters. They look like they are being, like, deprived of something. This reminds me of Judy Garland from the first movie, The Wizard of Oz. Judy Garland was told by executives that she looked like a fat little pig with pigtails and was encouraged to smoke 80 cigarettes a day. Jeez. Even more horrifying is that the studio gave her stimulants and sleeping pills to keep her energized and working, ultimately leading to her death from various complications. And now, many believe history is repeating itself. Cynthia was actually very fit before, and had never appeared this haggard. As for Ariana, this time she looks alarmingly thin. There are even blind items claiming that Ariana has fainted multiple times due to refusing to eat. I don't know what happened on set, but it feels like something serious that needs investigating.
I personally do not believe that they're forced to diet or anything. It's way too risky nowadays to do that kind of stuff to people because of the exposure. I could be wrong, but I personally think that they might be challenging each other. You know, they're wealthy women that are probably having fun with whatever that diabetic medicine was. Hold on, let me look at what it was. Ozempic. They're probably on Ozempic and they're just challenging themselves to see who could lose the most weight. I guess you could say that they're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Ozempic. But all jokes aside, I really hope that there's nothing wrong with them. I'm really hoping that they were not forced to do something that they didn't want to do and that they're healthy.
If you're one of the luckiest individuals alive who has never broken a bone in their body, then listen, because I have a message just for you. You have been divinely guided and protected from the moment that you came into this world. You have someone in the spirit realm, multiple people in the spirit realm actually, who are looking after you and protecting you. You know, every time that you came so close to having a crash or an accident and then suddenly out of nowhere it didn't happen? Lucky you. That is probably your spirit guide or angel, loved one, protecting you, divinely guiding you so that it didn't happen. Every time that you were late in traffic, it was most likely protecting you from something that could have happened up ahead. So if you have been one of the lucky ones who has not broken a bone in this lifetime yet, then make sure you send this to someone who has also not broken a bone.
Hey, I guess I'm one of those lucky ones. I have never broken a bone, but I have came very close a great number of times, especially when I was working construction. The amount of times that my leg should have been broken through things pushing up against them or landing on them is absurd. Either I'm really lucky or something really is protecting me out there. Let me know, have any of you broken any bones? And if not, do you feel like there's something out there protecting you?
I'm going to show you an image of an ink blot, and I want you to tell me what you see in that image.
Okay.
What does this image look like to you?
A giraffe looking at me menacingly.
Very interesting. Let's try another.
Okay. Kind of looks like a ghost screaming at me with devil horns.
Fascinating. You're a very curious case.
Yep. That looks like a rat hiding behind a carrot.
How about this one?
Oh, that's two people sword fighting with their cats headbutting each other.
I see the same thing, actually. And this one.
An owl. No, someone from Mortal Kombat.
Well, that's concerning.
I did not know where that was going, but I gave my honest answer, so hopefully you guys went along with that. Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed any of the clips that we watched, links are in the description down below. And with that being said, have a good day.